Russian security forces have seized the sailors and also vessels from the Ukrainian military, and some of those soldiers, of course, are still in their custody. And the latest update to this story is that Russia has released a confession video that these Ukrainian sailors have filmed. Now, before we get to that though, in case you missed this story, a CBS News report that we're about to go to gives you the quick details of what occurred. Take a look.
This clash took place in a busy shipping channel that's used by both Russia and Ukraine. In a video shot on board a Russian Coast Guard vessel, you can hear an officer shouting orders to cut off the smaller Ukrainian tugboat, and then he rams it. Now that tug, along with two small Ukrainian gunboats, were subsequently seized and docked in Russia, while the Russians showed more military muscle, even flying fighter jets along a bridge that spans the channel.
Now, Russia claims that the Ukrainian vessels were in their territory. However, Ukraine maintains that no, this is actually a strait that we've been using with absolutely no issues, and there's no reason why this provocation should have occurred from the Russians. That's what they're claiming. But with all that said, I do want to go to this video. And remember, these are Ukrainian sailors who are now being held captive by the Russians, and the Russians are now releasing this confession video, and they're airing it on state-sponsored television in Russia. Now we had to translate it. Of course, it's in Russia. So for those of you who are listening to the audio version of this, I do apologize, but I will quickly summarize for you when we come back. Let's take a look.
После пересечения государственной границы Российской Федерации визуально наблюдал корабли пограничной службы ФСБ Российской Федерации. Я запросы по установке по УКВ радиостанции игнорировал сознательно. На момент перехода на борту находилось стрелковое оружие, а также пулеметы ДШК с боекомплектами. Осознавал, что действия группировки кораблей военно-морских сил Украины в Керченском проливе носят провокационный характер.
Неоднократно нам говорили, чтобы мы покинули территориальные воды Российской Федерации, выйти в 12-мильную зону и ждать дальнейших решений по нашего прохождения через Керченскую протоку до города Мариуполь.
So both the captive Ukrainians are saying that they were told to leave the area and they didn't listen, and that was the reason why they were eventually held captive by the Russians. The first person who made this statement was very obviously reading something. But look, take it for what it is. Right now, this story is still developing, but understand that Russia started this. They are the provocateurs in this case. And more importantly, they changed their story. So initially they denied having these vessels in their, docked in Russia. And then it turns out that it was docked in Russia and they later changed the story.
Yeah, guys, if you're a regular watcher of the Young Turks, you saw yesterday that I was skeptical about the Ukrainian side as well, and I wasn't sure who actually provoked the situation in the first place, because now the leader in Ukraine, who is not very popular, has declared martial law. That's
for 30 days.
Yeah, I understand, but that's that's a struggling government headed toward bad things 101, right? And so that is very disconcerting. But the evidence in today is against the Russians, and so that leans towards the Ukrainians being right and the Russians being wrong. Why do I say that? Well, that's a hostage video, man. That's the most obvious hostage video I've ever seen in my life. So, and the guy in the first video, as Anna pointed out, is clearly reading off something the Russians wrote for him off camera. That doesn't convince me that the Ukrainians were wrong. That convinces me the Russians were wrong. I mean, they're doing hostage videos, and why did they capture these guys? Why did they lie that they didn't have them, and then they admitted they had them? Now they're doing hostage videos, which presumably means that they were threatening somebody's life. Otherwise, they're not going to do that. Those are Ukrainian soldiers, and they're higher ranked soldiers. So are they threatening their lives, their families' lives? More likely, the lives of the people that are with them. There's 24 other sailors that are captured by the Russians. So that tells me, no, the Russians are the bad guys in that case. And now with Trump in absolute turmoil, and Trump saying, hey, for the money, I let the Saudis decapitate people. Russia, that is all over eastern Ukraine, might be thinking, this is a good time. Let's just go in and take more. And that clown Trump, we own him. Besides which, all you got to do is give him a nickel and a dime, and he'll let you do anything. He let the Saudis dismember someone with no consequences. What's he going to do? Stop us from taking eastern Ukraine? So let's just start being more and more aggressive. And right now, today, that's what it's leaning towards.
Yeah, it's interesting because I didn't think of that perspective. The fact that, letting the Saudis off after they ordered the murder of a journalist not only set a dangerous precedent regarding the safety of journalists, but more importantly sends a message to other evildoers throughout the world, right? If the president is unwilling to do something to make the Saudis pay the consequences, then why would he do anything negative toward Russians if they wanted to, annex another portion of Ukraine?
You think Trump's really what? He's going to roll in the tanks and oppose the Russians? Look, I don't want any of that happening either. No. And I don't know what I would do if I was in charge, because I don't want a conflict with Russia. On the other hand, I don't want them to constantly roll into other countries and take their land, because if you do that kind of appeasement, we're going to have real trouble. And Trump, I would be shocked if he did anything about it. So
let me give you the latest update from Trump. Now, he was set to have a one-on-one meeting with Vladimir Putin during the G20 summit, the upcoming G20 summit in Argentina. He has just notified the Washington Post in an interview that he is going to hold off on that meeting until he knows the full scope of what's going on between Russia and Ukraine. So in this interview, he's saying he's awaiting a full report from his national security team. And he says that will be very determinative.
No, it won't.
Maybe I won't have the meeting. Maybe I won't even have the meeting, he says. I don't like the aggression. I don't want the aggression at all.
Yeah, I don't believe him for very good reasons. He's a nonstop liar. But specifically about this, well, your national security team just gave you a report saying, yeah, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia decapitated a Washington Post journalist. And you're like, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. So no, you ignore your national security team all the time. They told you that the Russians interfered in the election, and what did you say? I don't know, but Putin tells me he strongly denies it. So you took the Russian word over your national security team over and over and over again. You took the Saudis' word over your national security team. So do I think you're gonna listen to your national security team? Of course not. You don't listen to any part of your government. 13 different agencies just concluded climate change is real, it's man-made, and it's going to be devastating. And he literally said today, I don't believe them. So you're not going to listen to your national security team. You're going to do whatever is you think is in your personal best interest. That's what you're going to do. Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below, and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.